In the last month, I read 11 books and there are 7 more I decided to not finish, which sounds wild, but you're going to see I've been testing new things and it's going to be hit and miss and you learn things about yourself. So a lot of these are either really popular books or newer releases, so you're going to learn something out of these reviews. So let's get to it. Started the month strong and I've been trying to dip my toe into the romantasy genre. I feel like it's really hit and miss for me because I don't know what works, so that's why I decided to start doing little vlogs on them, kind of testing the popular ones to learn about what works and what doesn't for me. And we started strong because again, Shield of Sparrows was my first read and I gave it 4-star. It does contain all the classic tropes that you attach to the genre, which can be, again, really hit and miss. But in this case, it worked, so I was okay with it. I don't even have my copy because I let a friend borrow it because I need to talk about it with someone. So the premise, again, very classic. You have the reluctant princess. She has always felt not pretty. She has to dye her hair brown and she has gold eyes that are also different from everyone else. And her sister was the one that was trained to become a princess that would marry another prince from a different kingdom. In that world, every couple of years, you have these giant birds that come and kill everyone. And to keep the peace, that's why they do these kind of things, these marriages. They call these women the Sparrow, so Shield of Sparrows. And last second, switcheroo, she's the one that has to get married. So she's utterly unprepared. She's not going to be a good spy. And she is, you know, kind of clumsy and everything. So you have an enemies to lovers situation, which tends to work for me as long as it makes sense, which it did. You definitely have like smirking, some banter going on, but I ended up enjoying the romance. The world building, you kind of just see a little bit of it, and I think book 2 is going to have more of it, but book 1 is definitely very focused on the romance, and I ended up rooting for the characters and I ended up enjoying myself, a few giggling, kicking feet moment, and the end was quite intense. I didn't expect the book to go that far. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about book 2. I already have my name on the waiting list at the library, so you know, that says everything. I do want to continue. I've heard that it's quite different, so it's definitely going to be more about the world building, and that's where romantasy tends to lose me. Like, if I enjoy the romance, because sometimes I don't, the world building still needs to be interesting and make sense. So far, she didn't know a ton, so you're kind of learning with her. And then book 2 will determine how I feel about the whole series. So I will be continuing it. Like I said, 4-star, I had fun. It's definitely a bit unserious, but in a good way. So highly recommend if that's your thing. I decided to continue with a very popular one, which was Quicksilver. I had been warned I was going to hate it. And frankly, at first, I was questioning why everyone was telling me that, because it was totally fine. Like, nothing crazy was happening, but I was fine with it. Until you are introduced to the fairy, which, I'll be honest, I have yet to find a fairy romantasy that works for me, but I was prepared, you know, to maybe find one. And the banter, if you want to call that, did not work for me. I'm pretty sure I still have a screenshot, but basically what happens, for context, she's brought to the fairy world really quickly, and the first time she gets a chance to ask him, the fairy, a question, she directly goes to, so how is your member? I don't want you to come for me. That's the first question she asked him, and that's his reply. To me, this isn't bad. Wow, the French literally came out. The French literally came out. For me, this isn't my kind of banter. It just goes right ahead with like female dog in heat comment, and I was like, oh, that is definitely not going to work for me. And I kept going for like one more chapter. There's literally the next chapter called Swallow. You know? And I was like, oh, okay, this is definitely not for me. I'm not really into spicy novels, so again, this book has divided people, and that's why I wanted to try it. It's so popular. Why is it so popular? And again, at first it was fine until that started, and it would not stop, so I had to stop. So didn't make it that far. I read 16 chapters, but yeah, it just really was not going to work for me, so I did not finish that one. The next one I did finish was The Night and the Moth, which I had read the other duology by the author. This one was a YA, but I was curious to see what an adult romantasy would be from her, because I felt like the love interest was very insta love in the YA version. And I enjoyed the first half of the book quite a bit. I liked the setting, the atmospheric feel of kind of gothic. So you're following this girl who doesn't have a name. She's called Number 6, and these girls are taken away to this place where they will be drowned daily, and they will make some future predictions, which that sounds crazy, but that's basically what happens. So they're, you know, always hidden, and yes, they're actually drowned in that specific water, and they will see these omens, so telling people their future, including the very young new king that comes with his, you know, knights to get his prediction, and it's very bad. So you kind of have the beginning of that story. There's a little bit of a romance also there. I felt like it started kind of late, but not in a bad way. Again, I was enjoying the gothic feels and the gargoyles, specifically Bartholomew. Love him. But yes, I wasn't sure where the story was going, and then it starts kind of resembling a little bit the other series. I don't know how much of a spoiler that would be, but either way, I kind of was okay with the second half until the ending. I don't say that often, but I think I'm going to say that 3 times in this video. I did not like the ending. I feel like it's really rare that I feel like that, but I felt like it was there just so it would be a duology. Anybody else? It felt like a standalone until then. And yeah, it's not like you can't see it coming, it just wasn't good, in my opinion. So for that reason, this one is going to be like a 2.5 star, which feels really harsh because, again, I really like Bartholomew, and I was enjoying, you know, again, the vibes in the first half, but I don't know, I really did not care for the ending. Okay, this is where I started doing a lot of experiments. I've been using my library a lot this month, which was great. I found out basically that one of my library cards was giving me access to other libraries. So I have now like 95 books on my waiting list. So you're going to see me use my library a lot more, which means that I tend to experiment a little bit more. And sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. I did try the Compound, which I had seen it, I think on the Goodreads Choice Award of last year for like the sci-fi category. And I feel like I've been struggling with finding new releases like sci-fi that are good. And this one pretty quickly, I think I was like 14% into it. I put it down because I was not enjoying the narration. In this one, you're supposed to follow the main character who's part of the Compound, basically like Love Island. She wakes up there and like she's just discussing finding the people, the other participants, and again, did not care for the writing. And I'm trying to really learn to put down books quickly when that happens because it never gets better. I finally, you know, accepted that. I've tried what, like 1,000 books now on Booktube, so I know that it doesn't get better, and the sooner I put it down, the faster I can move on and not get into a reading slump. So a lot of people did afterwards say that they also hated it, but I was too early to really have strong opinions. I did finish The Ending Writes Itself because I was curious. It was a newer release. It was co-written by V.E. Schwab, which I love, and it's a murder mystery kind of lockroom situation, or like everyone is on this specific island, but a few people do die behind a closed door. You have these 6 writers that are like mid-level. You know, they don't make enough to really live off of their success. They have enough success that they don't really want to not do that. So they are invited to this private island of this really famous writer who is about to finish the last book in his series that is, again, extremely popular, of detective. So they're invited there to possibly write the ending. And there's a bit more to it. Again, don't want to spoil it. I did like, again, the vibes because, again, island, they're surrounded by books, they're writers, so it sounded like it was going to be a good book, and I was losing more and more interest. I did guess, but I don't think it's difficult, to be fair. You have obviously some commentary on the publishing industry, which could have been good, but honestly, I was just not rooting for anyone by the end, and once again, I did not like the ending, which I don't feel like I say that super often, but again, that was the second time that month. I'm also giving it 2.5, which is super low. I really didn't expect to not like it to that extent. But, you know, to be fair, I feel like a lot of books in this video that are like newer release, they come out and they have really high ratings because the people that are the most excited by this author writing a book will give it, you know, a 5-star. And then more and more people read it, and, you know, the actual forever rating will be achieved eventually. So maybe that's the reason I feel like the rating has been going down with this one. And yeah, I was disappointed. I did try Glorious Exploits just out of curiosity. I didn't think it was going to be for me, and it wasn't, but I get why it's popular. So if you enjoy literary fiction and a bit historical fiction, I guess, and humor, like absurd, this is going to be your thing. There's basically been this battle, you know, ancient Greece, and the Athenians are basically waiting to die, the ones that are stuck there. And then the 2 main characters are walking around trying to find some of them that know enough of this play to play it, and they're like, oh, if you know, can play it, we're gonna give you some wine and some olives because you're basically waiting to die right now. And yeah, I just wanted to try it. If it's your sense of humor, you're gonna love this, so I wanted to mention it. I didn't put it down because it wasn't good, it's just not for me. I was disappointed though with A Good Person. I've been wanting to read more literary fiction, and this one started really strong. I love the writing. The story is that you found this woman who is like morally gray, I guess, and she's going to X her situationship. And again, I was really loving the beginning. You get a situation when she was younger that she may have pushed or tried to push this girl into the enclosure of an animal at the zoo. Maybe. Sue her. And again, I was really rooting for her until the situation started. I got the ick so bad. I realized that a lot of, again, literary fiction that surround themselves around like romance when they're talking about situationship. I just can't do it because it reminds me too much of real life, and I cannot stand hearing a friend talking about their situationship ever again. So yeah, I couldn't finish it. I did, however, finish Every Summer After. I wanted like a summer read, you know, just something, a beach read, nothing too serious. I hadn't tried anything by this author, so I was just wanting to see if it was going to be for me, if it was going to read too young, and it didn't, because you're following two timelines. Present time when she's 30, and then it starts flashback when she's 13 up until she's 18. Her family bought this cottage and she spends her summer there again. Once she's 13, the neighbors, there are two boys, one 13, one 15, and then you're following them every summer. And that's exactly what I thought it was going to be. You know, cute summer, you're seeing the romance, the budding romance, and you want to know why in the present time they don't speak anymore. So I was enjoying it. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be until you get the reason. Again, no spoiler, but you know they stopped talking at 18, so what happened? And when I got that reason, I hated it. And again, I can happily spoil any of these things in the comment section if you want me to tell you, but I feel like the people that like it, I don't believe you that you would feel the same if, you know, you reverse the roles or something, like if it happened in real life. Maybe people are a lot more forgiving than I am, but no, I did not like the ending. So once again, this is going to be a 2.5 star. And The Calculation of Volume number 2 was again a book that I decided to borrow from the library because I had read the first book and I wasn't sure how I felt, if I was going to continue the series or not. And book 2, as much as I like the idea of someone reliving their day over and over again, and especially main character being very into books, I thought it was going to be great, and I don't think it's for me. It's a 3-star, like it's not a bad book, but I don't think I'm going to continue the series. Funnily enough, my Read It and Haul It was pretty strong this month. I went back to celebrate my 10 years on Booktube to the books that I bought in 2016 and still had not read. In my defense, there weren't that many. I needed to go back to like 3 book hauls to have enough to try it. But the first one, I knew I wasn't going to keep it. I just don't like to get rid of books without trying them. So you have the Lux duology. This is Obsidian and Onyx. I think someone told me that this was supposed to be kind of a retelling of like Twilight with aliens, and I guess I can kind of see it, but it was kind of awful. I didn't expect anything but that, to be fair. I made it like 65 pages. 7 chapters in, and yeah, the description of this hot 17-year-old is not doing it for me, and it's so cringe. But I feel like if I had read it 10 years ago, it would have been cringe that I enjoyed. Now I just can't do it, so I'm just gonna donate it. It's okay. Again, that's what I expected. I did then read Le Bray, A Great and Terrible Beauty. I have read the first book in the Diviner series by her and I had enjoyed it, never continued. And this one, I did like it overall. You have this girl who grew up in India and then she's sent back to London when her mother passes away. This is like a boarding school, and you know, she kind of tries to make friends, mean girls, and you have possible witchy vibes happening, which I would have devoured, again, 10 years ago when I picked it up. But yes, I waited 10 years too late, and it was still good. I just feel too old, especially with like the romance happening too. Wasn't really for me, so I decided to, I have the whole trilogy. I'm going to donate the whole trilogy. So 3 stars, it's not a bad book. I'm just too old at this point for it. And then I did really like this one, Between Shades of Grey, which is funny because it's a World War II story, and I keep saying how over it I am, and it's actually even a young adult one. This one felt really different from all the other ones that are, you know, set in France and everything. This one is set in Lithuania. I can never say that. That H kills me every time. Lithuania. Whatever. And you're following this 15-year-old girl, and her father was already taken whenever her mother and her little brother are sent to work camps. You get the long descriptions of what happens in the trains, which were brutal. I think it's always interesting to see these stories through the eyes of, you know, a teenager or a child, because they don't necessarily get everything that's happening, and the horrors of it just feel really intense. And yes, it was really good. I did overall enjoy it. Would have I enjoyed it more 10 years ago? Probably, but I still think this is a good read, so 4 star. I tried to do a little summer ween, and before I started the vlog, I read Ring Shout, which I have really enjoyed some of the books by the author, so I was really excited for that one because it's horror and you're following people trying to kill the KKK. Can I say that on YouTube? Yahtzees, and basically they're actual demons. So like horror, fantasy, and I thought I was going to give this book 5 star. Like if I had done like a 5 star book prediction for the year, this would have been on it. I was so excited. It's not really long, but honestly, I think I just liked I'm gonna go with the vibes, which is not really the right description, but I enjoyed these kind of like light fantasy where you have this vague description of like the magic. In this case, it's like the weapon that he's using. You kind of get these ancestors and like their pain that is adding to, you know, the folklore. And I like this idea, but I just wasn't as invested into the situation as I thought I was going to be. Again, it's not super long. In these cases, the author needs to grip you right away. And I thought he did at first because of the things that happened, but by the end I didn't really care so much about the adventures, so I still would recommend it. I feel like a lot of people really loved it, so it might be a me thing. Like, this would be a good recommendation if you enjoyed the movie Sinners. I think that you might get some similar things in here that you might enjoy. So this is going to be a 3-star for me. Again, I thought I was going to give it 5, but I just wasn't as invested as I thought I would be. For the Summerween vlog, I did read a couple of like newer mystery thrillers, horror, and it was a lot more hit and miss than I expected. I don't know why I'm surprised every time. I don't feel like I really agree with the ones that I see on Goodreads, but at the same time, I see the hype, so I get sucked into and I try them, and every time I'm like, it was okay. So I'm still looking for the right place to get recommendation. Maybe I just need to be the guinea pig and tell you which ones work and which ones don't. So the first one I did read and finish was The Ghostwriter, which I thought the premise was intriguing. To me, it was kind of a slower, character-driven mystery thriller. And I don't know if it's because I had to take my time because I was really busy, but I ended up enjoying it more than I expected. So you have this woman, her father is this really popular horror writer, and there's this controversy behind it because when he was younger, his older brother and youngest sister died, and people thought maybe he was the one that did it, especially again when he started writing really intense, disturbing horror books. So she isn't really part of his life. When she gets a call and she gets a chance to be the ghostwriter for his newest book, where he will be revealing what he knows about what happened. So she gets sucked in back to this little town, and she's trying to kind of be a journalist, trying to figure out what happened, because that's what she usually does. She is a ghostwriter. Again, she has this tense relationship with her father, so there's a lot of secrets that are starting to come out. Again, to me that always feels a little cozy because small town and like mysteries. I will say at first I wasn't sure how I felt about the narration, but by the end I was sucked in. So I think I'm going to round it up to a 4. I did overall enjoy it, and I can see why it's been getting some hype. I did not finish It's Not Her. This was my second book by the author. I had read another one and quite frankly could not tell you anything about the story. I feel like some mystery thrillers just don't stick with you, but I remember thinking it was okay, so I wanted to give her a second shot, and I had to put it down like 14% into it. At 10% I wanted to put it down, and I told myself, let's, you know, give it another chapter or 2, and I just did not like the writing. At first I thought maybe it was because of the narration from the teenage girl. I feel like teenagers kind of angsty, they don't want to go on vacation with family. I thought maybe that's that, but no, I just don't like the writing. So in this one you have these two families with their kids that go to kind of camping in these cottages, and brother and sister. Brother and her sister-in-law are murdered, and that's kind of the situation in the beginning, but yeah, I didn't make it very far, so I don't know who did it. It's small town, so people were being weird, but who knows. So if you have finished it and you liked it, obviously feel free to leave your recommendation and your review in the comment section, but it wasn't for me. One that I was really intrigued about was Strange Houses, which I guess is kind of a horror book, and it is a Japanese translation, which I've found over the years that the writing is just really dry to me in English, but in this case it works because it's kind of, again, mystery horror, so the writing style doesn't matter that much, and it's such a quick read. It took me just over 2 hours for like 240 pages. I am not a fast reader. The only reason I read it that quickly is because of the way it's written. You have these floor plans, and it's literally half the book. So you do not have to be a quick reader to read it quickly, and frankly I think the only reason I finished it was because it was so short. But I feel like the premise is so unique that I'm still intrigued enough, and I'm going to read another book by the author. I believe they have 3, so I'm going to try another one because I don't know how to feel about it. Basically you have this character who starts thinking that maybe the murder happened. They think that the answer will be found with the floor plan. They kind of have this theory, start talking about it with someone else, and things progress really fast. And does it make sense? Not really, but again, it's just such a unique way of going through this premise that I want to see what they'll do with the second book. And yeah, I don't even know if I want to give it like a 2.5, maybe a 3-star. Was it good? Not really, but again, it's just so unique, and I'm just really curious to see. Maybe, you know, debut novel wasn't as strong as the next one. There's some hype. I'm curious, so it's worth a shot. Again, you don't have much time to lose. 2 hours. It's probably what it's going to take you to. And yeah, I don't know how to feel about that one, but I really want to hear your opinion. Heartwood was a slow character-driven mystery. I was enjoying the writing at first, kind of this woman is lost in the woods. You're reading like the journal entries that she's writing. You're seeing other characters, kind of waiting to see how, you know, their point of views are going to reach each other. But I had to put the book down 42% in, which I feel like when you make it that far, you're going to finish the book. But I just could not do it. There's like, it's not really a tangent, but the direction the book decides to go in, which again I can spoil it in the comment section, I did not care for it. I really did. To me it felt like it went on a really weird tangent. I just put it down pretty quickly. I just didn't want to read that. So if you've read it, I would love to discuss that in the comment section. But yeah, put it down 42% in, and I decided to try one last book, one last new release to see if mystery thrillers can be good. I need to do my own recommendation video because again, so many of the popular new releases have not worked for me. But again, I had tried another book by her and it was a good like popcorn read. Again, the story didn't really stick with me, but I remember enjoying it. So I decided to try Forget Me Not, and I did again enjoy it as a popcorn read. I feel like I enjoyed those like family mysteries, or like when the main character is trying to solve a murder mystery that will solve another one that she has in her life. So the main character is a journalist and her mother got injured and they don't have a close relationship, but she decides to go because her father basically tells her it would be nice if you did. So she goes back to the small town she grew up in that her sister disappeared when she was 18, so like 22 years ago. She ends up not staying and starts working at this farm that her sister worked that summer that she disappeared, and things progress and go into really wild direction. You kind of have to suspend your disbelief a little bit. But as a journalist, she gets really sucked in trying to figure out a few disappearances of young girls back in the day, and things get again very intense. And I overall enjoyed it for what it was. 3.5 star. It was a fun popcorn read. So if you've enjoyed your other books, you're probably gonna like this one. Again, you have to suspend your disbelief a little bit, but it was fun. So as you can see, my month was kind of mediocre. Did not find a 5 star, which is kind of crazy because I feel like this has been my best reading year ever and I found so many favorites. But I've been testing the waters a little bit more. I've been using my library more, so I feel like I've been trying a lot of new releases. And again, in general, they can be a little bit more hit and miss, but I'm happy to sacrifice myself. And I feel like it's fun because you see them everywhere and you want to have your own opinion. And now I can in the comment section. If you want to talk about any of them, let me know. I'm very excited about what I'm reading in August. I've actually started my next vlog where I'm reading books that are being released in September, October. So before they're coming out, and I think I'm going to find some favorites there. So I'll see you there. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll put more on the screen that I recommend you check out, and I'll see you in my next vlog. Bye.